Hey guys, welcome to a little thing I cooked up. We will see if it's good or not. Don't know. This is my first time doing anything like this. But it's kind of like a Bible study. So I took what my Bible has said and what I know about the Bible and what Dr. J. Strack has said. I kind of put it all together. I don't really touch his stuff too much as I wanted to talk about it as I go through it. My mouse is... Hello? Where's my mouse? Okay, there it is. I wanted to talk about it as I go through. But let me start off with the title. So, I'm calling this, Why Do Bad Things Happen to Me? It's not like a great title, but I mean, it gets the point across, right? So, I went through my Bible and found some verses that help with this, help with talking about, or explaining why bad things happen to people. And of course, there will always be someone who goes, well, what about this and this? And I implore you to put them in the comments, and I will talk about them on their own. I will do whatever I can to make sure I make a video and I personally talk about all of that stuff. It's also midnight, so I kind of have to be quiet. Then again, my door's closed, so it's not like it's too bad. Anyways, let me get started, huh? So, first verse, or set of verses, is Psalms 50, 14 and 15. So it says, sacrifice thank offerings to God, fulfill your vows to the Most High, and call on me in the day of trouble. I will deliver you, and you will honor me. So, really quickly, this is from the New Living Translation, or NIV, whatever, New International Version. Not a huge fan of that version, but oh well, that's the one I used. But with a little bit of the context from the rest of the Psalms, I kind of put this all together. Like, this was my thought process of what these verses meant. So it says, so what I believe this is to say with the context: give offerings to God in thankfulness, not in exchange. By that I mean, don't go, hey God, I will do this in exchange, you do this for me. Sounds good? Yeah. So, for when you do, by that I mean give offerings to God in thankfulness. You may call on Him whenever you are in need. Basically, offerings, I mean like tithe. You could do tithe, you can actually give offerings. Tithe doesn't necessarily mean money. And I don't know if the Bible says anything against this, but I also don't think tithe is necessarily to the church. To me, giving tithe would be like giving to a charity. I would count that as tithe. Going to something that is not yourself that will help people. Then again, tithes and offerings are supposed to go to God, but I say if it goes to Him or His I don't know, conquest. Nope, neither of those are the right words, but I think they kind of get the point across. His task, his goal, his, I don't know the word, something that if it can be returned to God, in like saying, give to charity in God's name type of thing. I guess that's the easier way to say that. Anyways, It says, "For when you do give offerings to God in thankfulness, you may call on Him whenever you are in need." I'm not saying that that is the only time that you will be able to call on Him when you're in need, because He does that to a lot of people that don't even really know Him. And that's usually the lead cause for conversions, is God helping people when they don't really do anything towards God. I saw a couple movies on this. I don't know what the name is, so I won't be able to remember to share it with you. If I do, I might put it in like a comment or something. But it continues, or I continue to say, "He will save you in troubling times, and in return give thanks to Him for what He's done for you." So this is what most of the movies were about. It was kind of testimonious, saying like, I had stage 3 colon cancer. And the doctor said I only had a couple days left to live. And I was in the hospital. And I died. And I woke up. Through the window, I just saw this blinding light. Looked like it was just morning, but I couldn't make out anything beyond this light that was coming from the outside. So I was talking to my wife, but what she was saying, she wasn't making any sense. I could tell that she was trying to talk to me, but what she was saying wasn't words. And then this doctor came in and said, "Come on, let's go to surgery." So I went to follow him outside this door, but something kept holding me back, feeling like I shouldn't go with him. But I didn't know what that was. So I went with him instead. I went against that feeling that was in my stomach that was pulling me, telling me not to go with him. So I stepped foot out that door, and it closed behind me. And it didn't open. I tried to go back, but the door was stuck. It was like it was just a wall. It looked like a door, but nothing I did could even make it move. And all of a sudden, the doctor doesn't look the same. He's this dark figure without form. And he just had this terrifying presence, and all of a sudden there were multiple of them trying to usher me down this hallway. I was getting this chilling presence. And it was making me not want to go. So I just stood still. So they started dragging me. And the further we went from that room, the more the temperature felt like it was freezing. So cold that it felt like I was burning. It was negative temperatures. Felt like I was on fire, but it was just this chilling feeling all over my whole body. And the light has completely disappeared. I could still tell that the figures were there, but I couldn't see them. They were saying, "You ruined your life. This is all your fault, and we're taking you with us to hell." And there was just They just kept poking and prodding, and I was scared. Now, I didn't believe in God before this happened to me, but I knew that he existed. So at that moment, when I just couldn't bear it anymore, this unimaginable, excruciating pain throughout my whole body, this burning, this freezing, it felt like my body was trying to self-destruct. Everything was trying to explode. My skin felt like it was going to come off at any second. My bones felt like they were melting. I just couldn't take any of that anymore. So I cried out to God, saying, if you're real, please help me. Get me out of this. And they were gone. I didn't feel that freezing, burning sensation. I just felt alive. When I opened up my eyes, I was back in that room. The light filled up this room even brighter than it was. And in that room was this figure of pure light, and just emanating from him was this feeling of pure love. And I said, "Are you God?" And the figure replied, "Yes, my son." And sorry to cut this whole thing short, but that's most of what I remember from the movie. It's not even a movie. It's testimonies that have been reenacted by actors. I don't know if I can figure out what that movie was, but I paid for a lot of people to go see that movie. Such a great movie. But at the end, he ended up saying that when he woke up in the real world, he started feeling a lot better. The cancer began to shrink. The cancer began to shrink, and the doctors were astonished by this miracle that couldn't happen without any divine intervention. So from then on, he believed, and yeah, that's kind of what I mean. The guy before any of that happened was a atheist. He refused to believe in God, even though I think it's kind of funny how atheists say, "Oh, I don't believe in God," yet you do. You just don't want to, because atheism isn't it. Agnostic is like you're open to there being a God. Atheism is supposed to be like you don't believe in God, but like you keep trying to disprove him existing, so it only like kind of further proves that there's some sort of reason to go perform backlash on all this. Anyways, that's enough on the first one, because we still have a lot to get through. So the next verse I found was Psalms 55:22. Cast your cares on the Lord, and he will sustain you. He will never let the righteous be shaken. I don't know what that little line there is for. Also, I don't know what's going on with my... Here, hold on. Okay, apparently it just doesn't like being in full screen. So, I mean, I'm back. Here's my mouse. It's not doing any of that weird crappy anymore. But if we go look under the verse that I put in like impact font to the Arial font underneath, it says, "Whatever has you worried, give to the Lord Jesus Christ and God Most High, and they will deal with them for you." It says that he will never let those who lean on him be shaken by things of this world. So, what I believe this is to say, I mean, I already kind of just explained it, but let me get into more details. I don't know how to put this. I guess let me come up with a story. So say, okay, so this is a story that I know of someone who happened in real life. They were getting ready to have birth. It was her and her husband were at the hospital, and the doctor said that there was an issue. The umbilical cord was wrapped around the neck of the baby, and they don't know how long it's been like that, because it's been like 10-15 minutes since they last did a check to figure out how the baby was doing. So when they went to go check again, the heartbeat was almost faded. It was like it wasn't there anymore. I guess kind of like you were listening to it through a wall. Practically non-existent heartbeat is what I'm trying to say. They were worried about it all. Like, they couldn't figure out what was going on. The doctors were worried on what to do. Because they didn't, I don't know, something in the hospital was like, the doctors, they weren't properly trained for this. Like, the actual doctor that was on break or something, or he was not at the hospital, or so it was just nurses is what I'm trying to say. So the husband sat down and prayed, saying, "God, I don't know why this is happening, but whatever the reason is, I know you will take care of it in the way that you seem necessary. I just pray that whatever may come, my wife lives. I don't want any negative thing to happen to my wife." I'm not quite sure why he said those words. I don't know if there's like something that could happen, like one of my friends, when they were giving birth, they had kind of sepsis, I guess transfer from the baby to the mother, and she unfortunately lost the baby, but she was put into immediate medical care for sepsis. And I don't know if that's what he thought he was gonna, or what could happen, or what may happen, or maybe he thought of like, I guess technically, he wouldn't really know what would have happened, but acidosis could have happened. The blood from the baby being so acidic from not having oxygen and having a buildup of the carbon dioxide go into the mother could cause a lot of issues. So I don't know if that's what he thought was going to happen, but he prayed, and eventually, like a couple minutes later, a doctor came in. He wasn't scheduled, but there was something that told him that he needed to come into work. So he came into work, and from then, it was a couple minutes later, and they had an emergency C-section. Thankfully, it all came out, and it all came out right, and like nothing bad happened. I'm not good at this whole storytelling thing, if you can't tell, because I keep like thinking of what to say next, because I get distracted too easily. Point of the story is, or I guess narrowed down version of the story is, they didn't know if the baby was going to survive, and they didn't know. Sorry, I was turning off the heater. They didn't know if something bad was going to happen to the mother, because they didn't know what was wrong with the baby, or how long the baby had not been breathing for, or had been strangulated by the umbilical cord. So the husband prayed to God, just praying over his wife and his child, that all may go well, and that whatever came out of it, safety of his wife was the top priority. And it happened. Basically, this whole never let those who lean on him be shaken is putting your trust into God, knowing that he will take care of it all. And then my next verse that I have is Matthew 5:4. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Before I put, this one's easy, and it belongs to my favorite part of the Bible, the Beatitudes. It says, those who mourn are blessed, for they are comforted by God. It may come in many forms. Like, for me, it was my family. Even though I pushed them away, they always came back to help me get through whatever it was that was making me sad and depressed. So I've always liked the Beatitudes. It was the first group study that I was in, and the first group that I actually felt like I belonged. So the Beatitudes kind of hold a special place in my heart. I even made a custom necklace for the Beatitudes. It's not great, but I mean, I think it looks good. Anyways, to kind of break this down, blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Mourning is a great way, because you're not supposed to bottle up all your emotions, because bottling them up can lead to a whole bunch of issues. I would know personally. I used to do this a lot. I mean, I still do. I mourn in silence. If I mourn. Most of the times, it's hard to mourn. Because to me, it was always a sign of being weak. But in reality, it takes a real man to be able to mourn in public. And it sounds easier than it actually is, because I don't know how it is for women, but I know for me, being a man, it was always tough, because you had to be this strong backbone for anyone, really. You wanted to look like this strong backbone that people can lean against for stability. always keep this kind of up front, even though deep down inside I was the one who was more broken than they were. So I came up with this thing that I called myself. I was the therapy friend. I was the person that people could talk to and not have to worry about me. So I would have my friends, I would talk to my friends about their personal issues, and I would never bring mine up with them, because to me, it wasn't more of a house of cards. It was more of, I needed to be a firm foundation for them to stand on, for them to lean on, or not lean on, but build themselves up, so then that they could be okay, for them to build their life on. Like, think of it like this. Building a house of cards on a blanket. Not one of those thin blankets that kind of just lay flat, like one of those super plush blankets. To me, it was, I needed to be a strong, flat, hardwood table for them to build them up. Or not even think of it like House of Cards. Think of it like, I don't know, a gingerbread house. You need a firm surface so the walls do not collapse. Because even if it quivers, even if it quivers, the foundation quivers, the walls will collapse. At least for me. Maybe I'm just not good at making gingerbread houses. But I needed to realize that it's not, no one needs to be at that table. Instead, they both need to work together. It's more of I needed to be another wall, or another wall. We were both walls in this situation, and God was the foundation. So I needed to learn to build myself up as well, instead of leaving myself as the foundation. I have all my pieces off to the side, but I'm letting other people build themselves up, figuring themselves out, while I'm just sitting here, left unassembled. I feel like that's a pretty good imagery. So right now I'm trying to figure that out. It's not easy because most of the stuff that I learn from myself. I don't really talk to too many people about the Bible. I'm just still trying to find a group that I can. Anyways, in the next verses are Philippians 4:6-7. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Jesus Christ. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Now this one can get somewhat complicated, so let me break this one down, then rearrange it to make it easier to understand. At first, it is saying that the unfathomable peace of God Himself guards your heart and mind through Jesus Christ. Then it says not to be anxious about anything, but pray for you and your problems to God. Now with all that being said, the whole thing is saying to give all your worries to God, because he, with his unexplainable everlasting peace, will protect you from all things. Pray to God for all that you are thankful for, the good and the bad. I have things that are bad that I am thankful for, such as not having a job. I don't know why I capitalized it, but I did. It is through me not having a job that I can write this letter to you all, and even more, that I can read it to you. I don't think I would be able to do this if I had a job. And I need to put a lot of pressure into myself so that I could do this more often. Doing this is not easy for me. But I'm hoping that at least one of you, people watching, can learn from this. I don't know what exactly it is that you will learn, because there's a lot of people that learn a lot of things a lot of different ways. But I am hoping that someone can learn from this in some way, because that means that I'm doing an alright job. So I had an idea that I was gonna say, but I don't remember what it was. Oh, okay. Verse 7 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God." So I'm not too sure what that means, but here's how I look at it. By prayer and petition is saying, praying to God. But the whole petition thing, now that's where it gets kind of interesting to me. Because I know me. I know how I pray. And it's not great, because I don't like to pray for the things that are wrong with me. Like, spiritually wise. I don't want to admit that I have problems. It's not easy to admit that you have problems. Sure, it's easy for me to say that I'm blind, right? Oh, I'm blind. I'm lazy. I don't get up and move enough. I sit down way too much. I play games too often. It's easy for me to say all that. But it's not easy for me to say that I don't think I'm doing this right. I think I'm missing steps to being a Christian. Which is why I'm not telling you how to be a Christian. I am telling you what the Bible says and how I view it. I could be wrong on some of that stuff. I don't know. But knowing what I know about the Bible, which isn't a lie, this is how I view all of these passages. I'm still looking for that right verse that tells you how to be a Christian. Sure, there's the one that says believing in God is all that matters. But there's more to that. Because, I mean, even an atheist believes in God, which is why they do that. But they're not Christians. It's more than that, and I don't know how to explain it, nor do I know how to find it. So I am trying to figure it out in 1 John. 1 John is a good one that I'm trying to break down so I could figure it out. I'm getting close to understanding what it means to be a Christian. I'm getting close to figuring out, I guess, I don't know what it's not John, I don't think is the author. Hold on. So the author of Hebrews, James, Peter, John, 1 John It is John, but not the same one. It's John, the son of Zebedee, brother of James. Wait, maybe it is? Okay, here's what my Bible says about the author. It says, the name of the author is not mentioned. However, there is external and internal evidence to support John, the son of Zebedee, brother of James, and the beloved disciple. Okay. But now, is that the same John as John? Matthew, Mark, Luke, James. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, James. Hold on, I'm finding John. Here's John. Which I guess I should have paused and figured this out. But I didn't because I didn't think far enough ahead. So this one says, oh no, it would be the same John. Okay. I don't know where I thought that it was the wrong John or a different John. No, it's the same John. Same disciple. Okay. Anyways, I don't remember what I was talking about. Something about 1 John and trying to figure out how to be a Christian. There's more to that. I'll get to that on a different day. Or maybe I won't. Did I just break? I think I did. My microphone? Did I just break it? No? Okay, I'm turning myself up because I'm noticing I'm very, very quiet. Okay. Anyways. Back to what I was saying was it's not easy to point out your own flaws, but it's easier to point out others. That's why in the Bible, a whole bunch of times it says, it's easier to point out the sliver in someone else's eye than the branch that's in yours. It's not easy to look, even it's not even easy to know your own problems, but it's easier to figure out someone else's, which is why you're supposed to have a community of people to help build yourself on, so you could figure out what those problems are, because you might be blind to them. I know I am. I don't know my problems. I don't know what's wrong with me. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, which is why I'm trying to find a community. I implore you to go find some sort of community in faith. That specifically is what I mean. I don't just mean, oh, go to the local book club to read Moby Dick. That's, no. What I mean is find a Bible study. You don't even need a Bible study. Find a young adults group. Find an adult Bible reading group where you guys talk about Bible. Talk about reading the Bible. What you're reading at the moment. What you figure it out. Or what you're figuring out in the Bible. Find something to help build yourself up, your faith, and others in the process. So now this is from my Impact Leadership Bible, which I think is a huge bonus that I have it, because it's a leadership Bible, so it kind of tells me how to talk about all this stuff. Not exactly, but I mean, I understand how to talk about it more. But it starts off with saying what I called this whole thing is why do bad things happen to me, is what it says, I think. Yeah, why do bad things happen to me? That's the title of this, and I kind of just stole it. So sorry, Dr. J. Strack. Anyways, it says John 16:33. In John 16:33, Jesus didn't say if you have tribulations or you might have tribulations. No. He told his disciples, you will have tribulations. It's a given. Everyone who lives in this world will experience tribulations or hard times at some point in their life. As Christians, we have an even higher likelihood of experiencing difficulties in this world. Concerning this, the Apostle Paul wrote, all who desire to live godly in Christ Jesus will suffer persecution. This is in 2 Timothy 3:12. We go against the grain, and that can make life rough sometimes. All is a little word, but it has a big meaning. There are no exceptions. Every person who follows Christ in this world will experience tribulations, suffering, and persecution at some point in life. Why would one person who is loved by God be exempt from adversity when another is not? The Lord, not Jesus. What happens when I try and type so fast? I don't know how to type, so I don't know. I roughly know where the keys are. I'm just not good at typing. The Lord Jesus was not exempt. In fact, he faced the worst adversity. A false view of God causes us to feel that any time adversity occurs, it is a result of something we did. That outlook implies that the world revolves around one individual's life, and that God is an angry judge standing by, ready to pour out judgment upon that person. The truth is, God hates sin, but loves every sinner intensely. The judgment for our sin was already poured out on Jesus. Every adversity is not an individual sin. Jesus' disciples assumed that a man's blindness was because of sin. They asked Jesus, "Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind?" And this is in John 9:2. Listen carefully to what Jesus answered, because this wisdom will carry you through every adversity in your life. Neither this man nor his parents sinned, but that the works of God should be revealed in him. John 9:3. Adversity is the opportunity to see God at work. When a person looks at adversity from his or her own point of view, a pity party is sure to follow. These parties are not usually well attended, and the result is depression. However, a leader who walks confidently through life looks at difficulty from God's point of view. He or she does not see it as an obstacle, but as an opportunity for God to work. This is all said by the author, Dr. J. Strack. There's probably some other people that has helped with this, but I'm not too sure because I can't find a clear answer in my little Bible. So if we go, where is it? Let's start off here. It says in John 16:33, Jesus didn't say if you have or you may have tribulation. So this is saying if you're alive on this earth, you will have hard times. No one will have it easy for their whole life. Ever. That is a result of sin being bred into this world. I mean, it's not bred. It was brought into this world by deceit and temptation, and then it became a part of our souls. So we're kind of stained at that point, which is kind of why you need Jesus to be the Tide Pods of sin cleaning. It says, as Christians, we have an even higher likelihood of experiencing difficulty in this world. Now, this is true, and some of you might not know it. Like, if you're not a Christian, you wouldn't necessarily know it because it's kind of hard to figure it out. Although, if you've seen what Christians go through, you can understand. Because atheists and people who's I don't know, so like a worse version of an atheist that kind of just are specifically about hating God. Not Satanists, because they're more just ignoring God. I don't know, whatever the whole complete hate towards God is, they have killed Christians for being Christians. They have ruined Christians' lives for being Christians, and it's hard to live through it. Like, you could just live your normal life without being Christian. Like, I don't know, there's tons of people. I can't give an exact example because they're usually just your everyday, ordinary person. And no one's probably made it this far. But if you have, first of all, thank you. And two, I feel like you're the person who's kind of falling under this whole Christian category of experiencing difficulties. So here's how I look at it. It's kind of like a tier list, or a bar graph, I guess, maybe. I don't know. I haven't came up with any pictures or anything, so you're just gonna have to listen to me talk. Christians would face the most difficulty for being purely executed for who they are, and talking. They're being executed for talking. And it's not just in anywhere. It's in a lot of places. It's all over the world. For being Christian, you can get executed. Yeah, I know that there's some places where you're going to get executed for one thing or another. But that wouldn't be everywhere. Over the whole earth, it's hard to find a place where Christians are 100% accepted. Israel, you're not liked because you're like, ooh, you're following a false prophet because Jesus never really came yet, and that Jesus guy was wrong. So that's like kind of Jewish, and that's kind of what the Jews were talking about back in Jesus' time, and that's kind of why they executed him. Which kind of makes me wonder, was Jesus a Christian? I don't think it counts. So I don't know if he was the first Christian to be killed. And I think that would make Stephen the first Christian to be a martyr. But there's a lot more hard things in Christian's life. Like, it's always the simple stuff. Because you're more towards God's will, and God's will is not of this world. So Christians don't tend to prosper on earth, but they will in heaven, type of deal. Like, you don't see this billionaire Christian. I don't think there's a billionaire Christian. I don't think they're... I don't know. They may say that they believe in God, but I don't think that they're truly Christian. Then again, I don't personally know any of them, so I can't make that judgment. Anyways, then the next people are people that are curious about God. Like agnostics, I guess, would have more of these difficulties. Because the world is trying to go, oh, you're going to have more difficulties, because if we can distract you from thinking about God, then you won't go to him. And then it's like all the people who don't believe in him, don't believe in God, they're like have less. And then it's all the people who are completely of this world, completely for this world. They just have everyone working for them, and they're not going to have any issues at all. And then it goes on to say we are against the grain, which is kind of what I was saying. We don't do things of this world or for this world. I don't know. That's kind of it for that one. That can make life rough sometimes. All is a little word, but it has big meaning. There are no exceptions. Every person who follows Christ in this world will experience tribulation, suffering, and persecution at some point in life. Why would one person who is loved by God be exempt from adversity when another is not? The Lord Jesus was not exempt. In fact, he faced the worst adversity. He was mocked for being God. He was tortured for days, even weeks. And he was hung upon a cross with his legs broken. So he was left there to suffocate on the cross and dying. And when it came to the time when they were done waiting for Jesus to die, one of the guards pierced his side with a spear so that he would die quicker. And then he was taken off that cross, placed into a tomb with a boulder that needed 2 men to roll away. At least 2 men, very strong men, to roll away. Which I don't know how strong that boulder would be, but you have to think that would be a pretty large boulder if it needed 2 men to roll away. Because with 1 man, it's a round boulder. You can probably push it some. Fairly easy. This would have to be, I don't know, like a 20-foot diameter boulder, maybe? I don't know. Something big, something massive. But he went through all of that to save us from our sins, to be the Tide Pods added to the washing machine of our life. I don't know. Maybe that's a good analogy. I don't know. Your life is a washing machine and you're a white cloth stained with wine. Until you add... No, you know what? I'm not gonna advertise Tide Pods. Jesus is gonna be bleach. Anyways, you're just sitting there in water, tumbling around, trying to get clean with just water. That's not gonna work. So God comes in, or technically, you would have to accept bleach being added into your white clothed life. So that he may get rid of your wine-stained sins. Kind of. I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyways, a false view of God causes us to feel that anytime adversity occurs, it is a result of something we did. So this is just reiterating the fact that anything bad that's happened isn't necessarily because of something you did. Yeah, you might have done something bad and now you're reaping the consequences, like, I don't know, you decided to drive drunk one night, or you decided to go partying, had a little bit too much to drink, but you were like, it's okay, I'm not that drunk, I could drive home, and then you get into a head-on collision, and unfortunately, the person that you were with, had a head-on collision with, didn't make it, they didn't survive, and now you are living with that problem. It's not, nope, don't know where I was going with it, it's not, but that it would be an example of something that is caused by you. Something that isn't caused by you would be something like, I don't know, you were in the bank one day and it got robbed. Or, no, you know what, that one's stupid. It's more of, say you were born with, I don't know, I guess spina bifida, where your spinal cord is prolapsed outside of your spine and is in a bubble on your back. Which I think that can lead to paralysis. I don't remember my training too well, but I know it's not good. That's something that can't be caused by you or anyone else. Well, technically it can, because there's a lot of stuff that can cause that, like chemicals and crap. But the point is, if there was no like human intervention with that, you got spina bifida, it was not your fault. Anyways, the truth is, God hates sin, but loves every sinner intensely. Which is like saying to a serial killer, I guess. I don't know. I always go for the extreme, but it's like saying you killed a lot of these people. And that's wrong. And I believe that justice should be wrought out. But I don't believe that your life should be taken. There's a lot of examples of this and like if you see these court cases where it's like the killer is on the stand and you have all of the victims or victims' parents or family say like, ooh, I hope you burn in hell, I hope you have a long horrible life in prison, I hope you get the death sentence, and then this one guy or girl comes out and goes, you killed my daughter, And there's a lot of people here that hate you, hate your guts, want you dead, want you to suffer. But that's not me. I'm not here to do any of that. I'm here to forgive you. But that doesn't mean that you're getting out of this. For what you have done, you still must pay the consequences. But thankfully, that's where Jesus comes in. The consequence of sin is death. Everyone will die. There was one exception in the Bible, and that was Enoch, I think. That might not be his name. Something similar to that. It was in Genesis. But he was taken by... wait, there might be another one. I think Elijah was done that too. Elijah was taken by God. I don't know. I have to study this more, so maybe don't quote me on this. But I think Enoch or Ishmael... Nope, not Ishmael. Started with an E. I'm going to go with Enoch. Enoch was taken into heaven by God, and he lived 365 years, which is, I find that interesting because that is a year's worth of years if each year equaled the day. That makes sense, trust me. And maybe Elijah was taken to heaven. I don't know the story of Elijah. I did years and years and years ago. Let's see. I did 20 years ago. I learned that story. I don't remember it. I'll have to do it one of these days. But Jesus came and he's here to collect the debt of sin. Everyone owes their life to sin. Nope, that's not the right wording. Everyone's gonna die because of sin. No one is gonna live because of not sin. Jesus is here to give you a new life and that you may not sin. Type of thing. If that makes sense. I don't know. It's too late. It's now like 1 in the morning. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've been up for hours. Let's just continue because it's almost an hour. This is like an entire sermon, I guess. Anyways, the disciples asked Jesus who sinned, the man or the parents, that he was born blind. Jesus said, "Neither this man nor his parents sinned, but that the works of God should be revealed in him." So it's saying these bad things happen for a reason. You may not know it yet, because the people in the past, they didn't know it. They just assumed that he did something wrong or his parents did something wrong, and that's why he was born blind. But that's not the reason. The reason is to show I am the God. Come to me, and I shall give you everlasting life through Jesus Christ. And it says when a person looks at his or her own point of view, when a person looks at adversity through his or her own point of view, it's a pity party, saying, "Oh, well, it's because I did this. I'm the wrong. I'm in the wrong. This is my fault. It's all because of me. There's nothing that I can do to fix this." But if they look at it through God's point of view, God's like, "Alright, you're blind. Later on in life, or throughout your life, you will be blind. You won't be able to see. Slowly but surely, I will take your vision away." Or not even I will take your vision away. Your vision will be taken from you, and I will restore it to you one day, so that others may know that I am the God, and I can do great things beyond human. I was gonna say conception. That's not the right word. Imagination. Human fathomability. Nope. Beyond human understanding, I guess, is a great way to put it. So, yeah, that is it. I probably missed a couple things because my brain is not in the right area right now because it is 1 a.m. I've been up. It's probably like 10 with a headache, so that's always fun. So yeah, God bless you all and peace. Outro, that's not the right one. Use outros. Let's go with clouds.